Capes on the Couch podcast is for entertainment purposes only. Dr. Issues is a psychiatrist, but he is not your psychiatrist and does not have knowledge of your individual situation. For any personal mental health concerns, please consult your own healthcare providers. For medical emergencies, please call 911 or the designated number in your area immediately. Remember that you are not alone and help is out there.
Hello and welcome to Capes on the Couch, where comics get counseling. I'm Anthony Setko.
And I'm Dr. Issues.
This is a Creators on the Couch, which, if you've never heard us use that term before, it's because this is the first time we're using it. We're going to go back on our website and retroactively retitle all of our creator interviews Creators on the Couch, because, again, sticking with the alliteration, we love the way that sounds. And we have with us once again Will Radford and Alan Dunford, the creators and writers of Pocus Hocus. Thank you, Will and Alan, so much for taking the time to talk with us again tonight.
Yeah, we're so happy to be here. Yeah.
For those of you who didn't listen the last time, you can go back and check out the last episode where we interviewed them in advance of the Kickstarter for issue number 2. And you can find that one between issues 135 and 136. We didn't give it a number per se. And like I said, we're just going to call this one Creators on the Couch, Pocus Hocus 2. So you'll be able to find that on our website, capesonthecouch.com. And before we get started, I made a reference to this in last week's episode in Ben Grimm. We're going to be doing a giveaway because this interview is in promotion of Pocus Hocus issue number 3, which is going to be launched on Kickstarter. It will be live as of the date of this going live. So if you go to our Instagram page, which is Capes on the Couch, at Capes on the Couch, and you follow us, we're going to have a post on there for this episode. We need you to like the post and comment with the word Horus, Horus, and the first 3 to respond to that, we will be sending you at no cost to you whatsoever a copy of issues 1 and 2. So that will get you up to speed on all of the goings on before the Kickstarter for issue 3 is completed. So we'll get that out to you. So again, go to our Instagram page, Capes on the Couch, like the comment, like the post regarding this episode, and comment with the word Horus, Horus, who is Pocus's rabbit assistant. And we're going to get into him in just a little bit. But first off, Will and Alan, how the hell are you guys doing?
Oh, man, we're great.
Well,
I think at this point, Will and I, we are so happy with how everything's been going with Pocus. And it's all thanks to supporters like you guys. And just thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys. It's very overwhelming in the best way possible. So
your Kickstarter for issue 2 was a great success, as evidenced by the fact that I have issues 1 and 2 in my possession.
About that.
Yeah, Anthony, can we talk about that for a second? Why is Doc so upset right now?
Well, because everything got mailed to my house, and I haven't had an opportunity to bring it to Doc. I am sorry. I'm sorry, bro. Legitimately, I will.
I forgive you. We still have to do this show together. That's fine.
That was a little bit of tension in that statement. I don't think I care for that, but in any case. So Kickstarter for issue number 2 was a great success. Just curious, because I didn't look at the final numbers. I guess like by a percentage, how much did you end up overshooting your goal?
So I can actually pull that up right beside me here. Before I get the number, it was kind of crazy to see, because we ended issue 1 campaign with 73 backers altogether. And we ended around, I think, $2,200, Will, if I'm right on that.
That sounds about right. Yeah. 20.
Yeah. So then issue 3, we ended with 173 backers and $6,200. And we went over 206% of our goal, which was,
wow.
Yeah.
Whoa. Yeah.
We didn't expect that. Yeah. We, went from, and it's not even so much a money standpoint of going from $2,000 to $6,000. I mean, that's awesome. Because, comics are expensive, especially to make them.
Right.
But the fan jump to go literally from 100 backers, like that means more to us than anything.
Yeah. This is the second time we were surprised. The first was, the first campaign, and it's like, oh, okay, people, are interested. They want to read this. This is great. And then the response right out of the gate with the second campaign was like, just blew us away.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think it speaks to the quality of the work that you two are putting out, that you were able to see that kind of a jump. And, so before we get into the discussions of issue 3 and everything, how has that, I guess, impacted your goals and things of that nature for issue 3? Obviously you want to continue to build on that growth and that level of success. How much has that factored into your anticipation for what issue 3 is going to do?
I tell you, yeah, it's really gone to our heads. We're riding around in the teens now. It's the Beckley community is not happy. No, I'm kidding. It's I'm sorry, I couldn't resist throwing that joke out there. Alan, I'll let you respond, because I know you're pretty eager to respond, but like I just want to say it's been incredible, and it's really, it's lit a fire, and it's been very motivating. So I'll say that much.
Yeah, well, you kind of took the words from my mouth. We've just been popping champagne bottles left and right? No, but we try not to let it look at it like that. We obviously want to keep building and growing, and we want numbers to show that, whether the numbers be monetary or just with the backers, right? More importantly, backers. But I think the beauty of it is we've already had the story mapped out, and Will and I are pretty headstrong in sticking with what we have and not reverting back to anything due to, any sort of popularity gain. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's really good. I think it's interesting to think about how we joke and all that stuff, but like how much it's really strengthened our commitment and our interest in this particular story and these characters going forward, because it was for us, it wasn't like, oh, this is becoming a successful, we have to rearrange everything now. It was like, oh, okay, this is we're on the right trajectory. So
perfect. Yeah.
That's an interesting point that you bring up. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Alan.
Oh, no, you're fine. I was just going to say, to piggyback off what Will said, it lets us know that we're on the right path, or it feels like we are.
Well, I was going to say the interesting thing, because of the nature of how you're doing this and going from Kickstarter to Kickstarter, is you have the ability to gauge that fan response and gauge that response between issues. And so you sort of answered my question before I was able to ask it, but I was going to say, how much of the response does that have on characterization or impact on the story? But it sounds like you've got everything pretty much well mapped out in advance. And you're saying, regardless of whether we just meet our goal or we blow by it by 500%, we're going to stick with the same story, because that's the story that we had in mind from the beginning that we wanted to tell.
Yeah, we don't want to jeopardize any of our characters or any of our, not so much, lack of a better term, our integrity when it comes to our work. But we really want to try to keep everything together, because the story that Will and I have together, and we are our own worst critics by far, we feel like structurally it's very solid with everything that we have going forward.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we hope that's shown through. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say it's we were lucky also in the sense that with the first issue, we didn't expect it to be, for this to happen as fast as it has. So we were thinking that the first issue, and then, maybe even parts of the second issue, we didn't expect that to be the moment where the success came in and we were like, oh, okay, well, how are we gonna change anything moving forward, et cetera, et cetera. We saw that kind of reaction the first 2 issues, and then we were like, okay, we're on the right path here, because we've always been confident. I think that as they go along, they get better, and they deliver more of what a lot of comic book readers are looking for. Also, I think just more and more generally.
Yeah, we didn't think issue 2 was actually going to end where it did. We were hoping that we would hit goal. We thought $3,000 was really ambitious on our part, because I think even from the beginning, Will, you said issue 3 is going to be the one that does really well.
Yeah.
Because of everything that we have in it, a lot of crazy stuff. I sent you guys some of the advanced pages to kind of look at. Not sure if y'all had a chance to look at them, but when you do, I hope you like what you see so far.
Yeah, so I'll speak for myself. I don't want to automatically speak for Anthony, but that was a situation where the second that the email was sent, I'm like, okay, I'm in. No, that's how much you hooked. That's how much you hooked me on the first 2. So
ditto.
Definitely, it was worth it, and I'm enjoying the ride. And
awesome.
And for me as a reader, I can tell you, and I know we talked about this in the previous episode, it's because the format that you guys seem to have taken allows us to get connected with each character, get to know a bit of them, and really start to dig in. And then you start to see how they all come together. And each time we get an issue, we're starting to see more and more of that. And someone else gets introduced. And even people that were already introduced, we get to see a bit more about them. So just to kind of dig in, honestly, in this case, it's very obvious from the previous comic. Just to ask, I mean, we really get introduced to Emily. It's very clear that she's her own woman, and from that standpoint, it's clear from the start. It's also clear that Pocus gets some sort of motivation from her too. I mean, I'm sure we're going to learn more about it, but from you guys as the creator standpoint, what were you going for with Emily as a character?
Will, you want to go?
Yeah, absolutely. So there was always a question of like, this would be an example of like not going back and changing things around too much, because we knew that she was going to be such a player in the story, a big player in the story, that we were like, well, are we waiting too late to sort of, bring her in issue 2 and sort of develop that relationship? I don't think so, because I think that, everything is laid out the way it needs to be. But yeah, we knew a big thing we talked about early on is that we didn't want her to be just like his assistant without any kind of identity or agency or anything like that. So we, started developing her as a character. And then I think we started talking, kind of talking about, well, Pocus, I mean, we talked a lot last time about his flaws and that kind of thing. And it just made sense, because it's like someone has got to kind of keep him on target.
Yeah,
like,
we wanted her to be the smart one.
Right. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, because there's all this chaos going between Pocus and the demon. We feel like Emily really gives the reader something else. Emily is the reader, right?
Mm-hmm.
Emily the grounded, you guys are idiots type thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
She's the POV character.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Because, as you notice and read in issue 2, the dialogue exchange between Emily and Pocus is always, I don't want to say hypercritical of Pocus, but always wondering why he's doing what he's doing.
Yeah, there's a lot of, trying to keep him on target. And now it's a case of like, she's wrapped up in this with him, so it's like she's got that drive and motivation there too to get all this straightened out.
Yeah, definitely. We see that at the beginning of issue 3. Again, not to give too much away, but she very much gets dragged in, some would say literally, into the ongoing situation between Pocus and the demon. How much of what I guess is the start of their relationship, because we don't really get a handle on where that all started. We sort of come into that they're established that she's the apprentice and things of that nature. How much are we going to learn in the story about how they came to come together?
So this is something that Will and we kind of had her origin story mapped out pretty well from the beginning, with how they came to be and everything. But how we're going to do it makes the most sense to us. So without giving too much stuff away, it's going to be in a later issue.
Mm-hmm. All right, that's fine. I didn't say it had to be in issue 3. It was just, but you have an idea.
Yeah. Okay, and we are so excited.
All I needed to know.
It's a tough one to which you probably figured out. It's a tough one to kind of elaborate on, because it's
it's pretty big to the story.
Yeah, it's one of those deals. But I think you guys will be happy with it. I think as we get into all that with subsequent issues, it's something we're very much aware of. So,
all right. Wonderful. Can't wait to see that. And hopefully, obviously the growth and the success continues moving forward. So switching off of Emily, then I want to talk about Horus. And he is a very interesting character that, at least for me personally, again, I don't want to speak for Doc. I know you've spoken a lot about Emily and building her up and stuff. Horus seems to have a small role, but again, similar in that case to Emily, in that sort of critical of Pocus and very snarky to some extent. What's his deal? And how much are we going to find out about Horus? Because he's another character that I'm like, okay, I want to know, how is this talking rabbit such a bastard? And why?
I'll let Will touch on this, but what I will say first before I throw the Horus his way, we thought about him talking early, but we didn't want to reveal it too soon. And the way that we feel like we did it, the pages that you guys got a chance to look at, some of those will be on the Kickstarter campaign. So those listening right now will actually be able to look at that in the preview section for our Kickstarter. So we're going to reveal that Horus talks for that because we think that that'd be so much fun. Just scrolling through and then being like, oh my gosh, there's a talking rabbit in this for someone that doesn't know yet. You know what I mean? So Will, give us Horus's motivation.
Right. Yeah. So right out of the gate, I think that's another one that you will be very happy with the answers. We are going to go into that. But I do want to mention something about Horus because this does tie into a question you asked earlier, just about like what changes with audience expectations and things like that. That would be a good example because that Horus was a discovery. And one of the great things about writing is making those discoveries. And, we had him in the first issue, of course, popping up in the little girl's hands and that kind of thing for the magic trick. And then, people really seemed to kind of respond to that image and that character. Sorry.
Yeah.
And so we started to kind of talk and say, well, what more, where can we take this? And so that would be an example of things kind of changing for the better or making discoveries for the better. But Horus was just a great development because everybody loves him and he's very, very fun to write.
So Horus, we liked the idea of Horus hating Pocus because we liked the idea of Horus just kind of, without giving too much away, this isn't really a big spoiler thing because the plan that we have for his origin is going to be it's something fun that you'll see coming up in issue 4. But we wanted Horus just to kind of be in hell, and then Pocus just pulls him out of hell. And then Horus just hates him for it now because Pocus also has demonic powers, so he can kind of keep Horus around, even though they don't like each other at all. And we just loved that dynamic between them, that Horus loves Emily because she's nice and sweet and caring to him. And then you have Pocus.
I love that dynamic. That's amazing.
Yes. So you have a sibling thing going, an apprentice thing going. You have a rabbit that's just pulled into really weird circumstances, but then has someone that's nice to him. Oh boy. This is a treasure trove for anybody in the mental health world. Yeah, I'm really digging this, and I know I'm going to continue to for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So now, it seems obviously Emily and Pocus have a friction-based relationship. Horus and Pocus very much have, as you said, the hate-hate relationship. Pocus's assistant, whose name, his servant, I guess.
Ivan, his butler.
Ivan, butler.
Yes.
Thank you. Yes. He does not have a horrible relationship with Pocus.
At all. He wants more.
He also has a very unique speaking style. It seems like as though there's no space, but he's written such that there's no space between his words. So now as a reader, I'm trying to internalize what that would sound like. And so I guess it's a twofold question is one, how are you using that relationship, I guess, to differ from the other relationships? And also, what's the reasoning behind that very unique, distinct speaking style? Because that's clearly a choice.
Yeah, we always wanted Ivan to be manic. We like that idea of him. Ivan has no chill, right? He's 100 miles an hour all the time. But our letterer, Dave Lentz, actually came up with that idea. He said it really drives the mania home and it lets the reader know, instead of just putting shaky text in there, how about we just put everything together? And whenever we were writing Ivan for issue 2, that actually helped us think of more ideas for him. And we crack up because you'll notice that the dialogue is all together, it's jumbled. And then you have certain breaks in the mania because then you'll have one word, go home. And then he just completely loses it again. Like, oh, well, I could just wait outside. I could do this, and we like that idea of Ivan just being completely also obsessed with Pocus. So, Will, do you want to take it from here?
Yeah, I mean, the whole concept behind the character is still just funny to me. But I mean, that's it. I mean, yeah, absolutely. Like the jumbled words and that kind of thing. That was like we talked with Dave about that when it was, a great suggestion, and that was something that we stuck with and wanted to keep there. And I don't know. I mean, he's a really fun character, and that's an example of like we just started with something that we thought was funny, and then filled in like the details as we went along. So I mean, the idea of being like a very sort of neurotic butler who is like which I mean, think about the paradox there, because I mean, Pocus wants the acclaim, the attention, the applause. And the one person he gets it from, he doesn't even notice, So, like, I mean, that's a fun dynamic too. We
also wanted Ivan to be a break as far as just in your face comedic relief too, because realistically, the story itself is pretty heavy, and we do go to some more, I guess, heavier moments coming up in more issues. But we wanted Ivan to kind of be also that break as well. We wanted Ivan to really show that through everything that we're going through and all of Pocus's deep, dark secrets and everything, there's always just this one person that is never changing and never questioning anything that he does, and is just crazy. Yeah. In so many ways.
The one consistent.
He's the one constant in his life, isn't he? And that's
and he even has, he even has a link to Pocus's dad, which it's like he's kind of like always there in some capacity.
Yeah, we wanted him to be an Alfred figure.
You're right.
In a way, because Alfred, he was with the Waynes, and then he was with Bruce. And we like that idea of Ivan just kind of being the family butler. And once Richard passed away, then we have Ivan now that's stuck with Pocus, or Pocus is stuck with him. I'm not even sure how do we want to look at it.
That's wonderful. And like you said, that the one constant in his life, and that the person that he gets the most adulation from is the person he least wants it from.
Yeah.
He's like, I need everybody to love me, just not you.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
You can back off.
Right.
Oh, everybody else is where I want it from. That's
always want what we can't have. Yeah.
Exactly.
I will go out on a limb and say this. Whenever we were writing Ivan, and I don't want it to make this sound pretentious or anything like that, but we feel like we're doing well when we make ourselves laugh when we're writing.
Yeah. When
we wrote that end dialogue with Ivan at the end of issue 2, I think that was the hardest that we laughed.
Yeah, it was it was something. We actually had to go back and tone some of it down.
We did. We were in the first draft. We went places we probably shouldn't.
So if you knew some of the jokes that Anthony and I were throwing around before we got on this call with you guys, you would. I think you guys would appreciate it, but I'm not going to go there.
Yeah. Just a lot of stuff involving some recent celebrity deaths. We could get.
We appreciate gallows humor and.
This was very lowbrow what we were going for.
Hey, that's totally fine on our part, and I appreciate the fact that you mentioned as I was reading Ivan's parts, all I kept thinking was, wow, this guy is hyperverbal, pressured speech, clearly intense, anxious mood. So yeah, it's one of those rare times I was actually thinking diagnosis. So for you to mention the word manic and for you to mention obsessions, I'm like, yeah, that definitely.
And we also see that with a little bit with his relationship with Emily in the beginning of issue 3, just a little comment that he makes there as they're leaving. I was like, oh, okay. I pick up what you're putting down.
Yeah, so those pages won't be in the preview whenever we do the Kickstarter. So I'm very excited for people to be like, what are they talking about when we get into it?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And I think the other thing too that we were very conscious about, and we always try to look at wardrobe too, even in a comic book. We wanted Ivan to not be put together. We wanted his hair to be disheveled. We wanted his buttons on his jacket to not line up because he doesn't care about that. He cares about Pocus.
About Pocus.
Yeah.
Well, mission accomplished there with that. So we spoke a lot in the last interview about the Demon and Pocus and sort of where they're going there. And without giving too much away, the beginning of issue 3, at least what we see, is very much focused on Pocus. But I'm very curious to see what role the demon is going to play in the rest of issue 3, because I imagine, and at least based on where Pocus and Emily currently are, I'm really doing my level best to avoid spoilers.
Yeah. Oh, no, that's fine. Yeah, we end issue 2 by saying Pocus and Emily go to hell. That's chapter 3's title, and is going to be in the Kickstarter preview.
Okay, well then, and by the way, I love the artwork for the depiction of hell. I mean, the art in this series is absolutely amazing. But to the demon, I'm hoping that we get to see a little bit more of an interesting role, because if they are in hell, now they're in his playground versus vice versa. And I'm hoping if you can shed a little bit of light on that, again, without too much spoilers.
Will, do you want to go for this one?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to think of how to word this. I think that's a fun dynamic too, just in the sense of like when you get to issue 3, who's on whose turf, and that's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
Yeah, and to piggyback off that, we really wanted to have a strong dynamic with how Pocus and the demon were in issue 1 together, and the beginning of issue 2, by him being on Earth. And then we want to try to turn that dynamic on its head by Pocus being in the demon's world. So we're going to have a lot of fun with that.
Makes a lot of sense. So we're gonna wrap this up pretty soon. But what sort of incentives, bonuses, et cetera, do you have on the Kickstarter? Because the Kickstarter goes live. What's the date? January 25th. Okay, so this will be live. This episode will be posted after it goes live. What sort of bonuses and incentives do folks have for backing the Kickstarter?
Yeah, really quick. We always want to have the catch-up tier. That's the biggest thing. So there is you can get all 3 at a discounted rate. Of course, you can buy the digital bundle. And we're also doing another big, retail bundle where you get 5 copies of issue 1, issue 2, and issue 3. So 15 copies altogether for a discounted rate. And we're also throwing in a t-shirt with that as well, too. And we're also just, having fun with it. My favorites are all the variant covers that we have and that we put together. So yeah, we really just want to make it about the comic and not about a lot of the extra additives, but some of the ones that do kind of strike me, which I love these. We are doing a custom soul contract. So it's fun for the whole family. So if you want to get a custom soul contract, that's going to be on there. Will and I will message you after the campaign ends and kind of just ask a little bit of information about your interests, hobbies, whatever, so we can best tailor your eternity in hell that way. And then the other thing that we have is a magic wand. Those are going to be limited quantities, so we're going to have a wand with a woodburn name, your woodburn name.
That's awesome. I'm really digging the personal soul contract. I think that is brilliant in terms of just a very particular specific giveaway for that. So that's absolutely amazing. We'll have the links to the Kickstarter. Alan and Will, I know we did this at the end of the last one, but where can folks find you on social media so we can continue to promote and grow the Kickstarter and this amazing book that everybody should go out and back?
Well, thank you. You can find me on Twitter, and I'm at Chaps of Fury. And Will, where can they find you?
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram at willrad82, willrad82. And I also, if you're interested in checking out any of my film and video work, you can find some of that on www.vimeo.com/willrad, WILLRAD.
Awesome. So we'll have links to all that in the show notes, because as my friend Chris from Play Comics says, it's always a lot easier to click a link than it is to type something out. Well, Will and Alan, thank you so much for taking the time, and certainly best of luck to you both in the Kickstarter. Again, we'll be promoting that, and again, a reminder: go to our Instagram page at Capes on the Couch on Instagram. We're gonna have a post up there about this, so you like the post and you comment Horus, HORUS, and the first 3 people to respond accordingly will get a copy of issues 1 and 2 mailed to you, and we'll get that out probably before the end of the Kickstarter. I will make sure my ADHD addled brain gets that in the mail before the Kickstarter for issue 3 ends, so that you can go out, you get the books and you go, wow, this is one of the best things I've read, and I need to go back the Kickstarter for issue 3. And then folks will continue to go out and support that. So, best of luck to you on the Kickstarter. And as always, it's a pleasure, and looking forward to having you back for issue number 4 when that comes around.
Cannot wait.
Yeah. So you guys actually taught me something tonight, because I had always learned that if you get someone in the hospital and they say pink elephants or whatever, you're supposed to ask about alcohol. Apparently, if you see a pink rabbit, it means you're going to hell.
Yep. Yeah.
Right,
So noted. Yeah.
Like, no question, like 100%. Yeah, that's your sign.
That's fantastic. Well, thank you, Will Radford, Alan Dunford, and we appreciate you taking the time for Doc Issues. I'm Anthony Sitko. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Capes on the Couch podcast is for entertainment purposes only. Dr. Issues is a psychiatrist, but he is not your psychiatrist and does not have knowledge of your individual situation. For any personal mental health concerns, please consult your own healthcare providers. For medical emergencies, please call 911 or the designated number in your area immediately. Remember that you are not alone and help is out there.